believe there's some on Canvas. Yeah, if you go to modules, let me go
I was
ahead.
going to find it, print it out. And try to
Yes,
practice
that's a good idea, and you know what? I'm just going to review where to find it because I'm pretty sure it's in my. Let's see, probably in with extra practice. Let's see, I'm guessing maybe in extra study materials. The flashcards are in here. Let's see. I don't see where my practice paper is right now. Hold on. View all pages. Page. Extra hiragana, katakana practice. Maybe that's where we went. Flashcards, practice. I will have to look for those PDFs and make sure I post them to Canvas because I thought they were already there and I'm not seeing them. So if I can't find them, you probably can't either.
I only checked like 2 minutes yesterday.
Okay, yeah. So do me a favor, if you think of it later, email me a reminder that I said I would post those PDFs because I know I still have them saved somewhere, but I don't recall exactly where they ended up, obviously. So let me go ahead and go back to attendance and just mark that in and put it Alex. Okay, so we're just missing Avery and Sarah right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with finding correct screen and then go.
Doing this little practice things that we ask what each other's phone numbers are, and
I'm not sure why this isn't connecting. Okay, I can't seem to get the projector to work at the moment, so you know what? We're going to wing it without the projector. So let's just do a real quick review of all the hiragana. We're just going to do it with our textbook charts this time since I can't get the thing working. So everybody knows how to find the chart in the very front of their textbook, right? Okay, if you don't have it handy, maybe you can look on with somebody. Okay?
You still don't have it? I
That's
ordered
really
it.
annoying.
I ordered it the first week because it's.
Yeah, they still haven't gotten it. That's why I post the first 2 chapters in Canvas, because we have this problem every semester.
I don't have it either.
Yeah. So, but you've got the PDFs, right? Okay, so let's go through in order. So let's just say them together in unison. A, I, U, E, O. Ka, hi, ku, ke, ko. Sa, shi, su, se, so. Ta, chi, tsu, te, to. Na, ni, nu, ne, no. Ha, hi, hu, he, ho. Ma, mi, mu, me, mo. Ya, yu, yo. La, ri, ru, re, ro. Wa, o, Okay. Let's go through the dicriticals and combos real quick. Same way. Ga, gi, gu, ge, go. Za, ji, zu, ze, zo. Da, ji, zu, de, do. Ba, bi, bu, be, bo. Pa, pi, pu, pe, po. Kya, kyu, kyo. Sha, shu, sho. Cha, chu, cho. Nya, nyu, nyo. Hya, hyu, hyo. Mya, myu, myo. Rya, ryu, ryo. Gya, gyu, gyo. Ja, ju, jo. Bya, byu, byo. Hya, pyu, pyo. Okay. Any questions about any of the hiragana? I assume that everybody's continuing to practice and continue to improve with it. even if you're not 100% on all of it yet, right? But you want to be soon because week from today, chapter test, and you're going to be expected to, at minimum, be able to reproduce this part of the chart from memory on a blank sheet as part of the chapter test, okay? These guys will be extra credit, but this part will be mandatory. Okay, that's one of the pieces of the chapter test. Okay, let's also review our numbers. So let's count 1 to 10 in unison together. So, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shishi, hachi, kyu, ju. Okay, and yon or shi, nana or shichi. Those are fine. Now let's do by tens. Ju, niju, sanju, yonju, goju, rokuju, nanaju, hachiju, kyuju, hyaku. Hyaku. Yeah, there's no juju. Sounds like bad magic. Yeah, so, okay. Any questions about counting in general or numbers in general? Okay. We're going to do a quick run through of the vocab flashcards out of order. So we're going to sound them out and then say what they mean. Okay? Instead of doing the 3 by 3, we're going to try just first who can read it.
Aisatsu.
Hi, who remembers what it means?
Greetings.
Greetings. Hi. Not as in hello, saying aisatsu for a greeting, but as in aisatsu means the various types of greetings. Okay? It's not like a bad cartoon. Greetings, Earthling. No. It's not that. Okay. Hi, which means good night. Casual or formal? Casual. All right. Which means 15. All right.
Nishu, 20.
Hi.
Juji, 10 o'clock.
Yes, 10 o'clock.
Tomodachi,
Yeah. Hi.
Nihongo, Japanese language.
Hi. Japanese language. Nihongo. Yeah. Keyword there is go, right? Nihongo, Japanese language.
Senko.
Senko.
Oh, Senko.
Senko.
Major.
Major, yes. College major. Senko.
So
So desu.
it is so.
It is so, that's right. Hey.
Meiji Han. 2:30.
2:30, yeah. Niji han. 2:30.
Ohayo.
Ohayo.
Good morning.
Good morning. Casual, yes. Ohayo is casual good morning.
Juni.
12. Hi. Juni.
Gakusei.
Gakusei.
Student.
Student. Hi.
Daigaku.
Hi. Daigaku.
University or college.
Hi.
Telephone.
Number as in like a telephone or house number. Denwa bango would be phone number. Hi. Bango by itself. Number. Year student. Year in school. Yeah. So like ichinensei would be
First year
student. Hi.
High school.
Koho is high school. Hi.
Sensei.
Teacher. Hi.
Doctor.
I'm home.
Hi. I'm home. Hi.
Goju.
50. Go is 5. Ju is 10. 5 tens are 50. So goju. Okay. So yeah, place value is embedded in the way Japanese pronounces its numbers. So it's kind of useful. Suji. 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 Examples. 15, 50, 25, 30, hyaku.
Numbers.
Yes, numbers. Suji are the numbers as in numbers you would use for doing math, not the number on a house or the number for a phone call, okay? They just differentiate those.
Kind
Well,
of. Yeah,
abstract.
never mind.
Abstract numbers versus, concrete numbers kind of. Tango.
Dance.
Not the Argentinian dance, but Japanese vocabulary. Hai, tango. Okay, so if you want to think about dancing your way through the vocab list, maybe that'll help you remember. Q is 9. Hai.
Watashi,
Hai.
I,
Hai.
Japan.
Hai. Nihon is Japan.
Namae.
Name, yes, namae. So, for example, watashi no namae means my name, yes. Watashi no. I'm going to be talking more about that no particle and how to use it today. 1 o'clock. Right. 10. Right.
Oroshi, 6 o'clock.
Right.
Hyaku, 100.
Right.
Yeah. Gozen is AM.
AM. Right.
Sanji, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Right.
Kaiwa.
Kaiwa. I'll give you some hints. The kai in kaiwa is like a meeting, and the wa part of kaiwa is conversation or speech.
So dialogue.
Dialogue, conversation, yeah. Kaiwa. It's actually like meeting and speaking. It's those two kanji put together, kaiwa.
Shishi.
Right. Shishiji is 7 o'clock. Right. 2 years old. Right.
Denwa.
Everybody's favorite accessory.
Eigo.
Eigo. Hi, English language.
Why can't it be an egg? It just sounds so much cuter if it was an egg.
That would be tamago.
What is egg?
Tamago.
Tamago is an egg.
Yeah.
And so does not sound like an egg. That's a tomato. Oh, Hajiji.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Right.
Yeah.
No. Right.
Ichi.
2 o'clock.
Right.
Boku.
6.
Right.
Doji.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Right.
7.
And, right.
Yo.
4. Right.
Ichi.
1.
1. Right.
Han.
Half. Yep.
Kuji.
9 o'clock.
Right. 9 o'clock. Kuji.
Nani
Nani is what? Right.
Gogo.
PM. Right.
Yomu.
This is not a vocab word, but yomu means to read. We'll get to that when we get to verbs. This is just reading practice also. Nugu, yeah. It's not a vocab word. Neither is this one. Nomu. Right, nomu actually means to drink, yes. And shinu, so to die, yeah. So this isn't vocabulary. These 4 I just inserted for the sake of the reading practice, because believe it or not, you don't have a single vocab word in this lesson that uses nu or mu in the word. So weird, right? So it makes it harder to learn those two hiragana if you don't have any practice at them. Okay? So goji, 5 o'clock, right?
Hachi.
8, right?
San.
3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Hai.
Hai.
The other yes.
Ima.
Right now, right?
Also what?
Also what? Yeah, the other what?
Thank you.
So this, is that with a question mark?
Yeah, that's like, really? Or is that so? はい。
Okay.
おかえり。
Welcome home.
Informal welcome home. はい。
Yamada-san. Mr. Yamada.
Yeah, Mr. and Ms. Yamada. Yamada-san. はい。
Renju.
練習。
Oh, Renju.
Yes.
Practice.
Practice, yes. 練習 is practice. 17. 17. はい。
Juyeon.
14. 14. はい。
Juichi.
11. はい。
Japanese person.
はい。日本人 Japanese person or people.
Ichijihan. 1:30.
Past.
Yes, 1:30. 1時半 1:30 if you want to be very literal. Yes, 1:30. 80 is 80. はい。
30.
30. はい。
60.
60. はい。
Sayonara.
さようなら
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
As in if I'll never see you
Farewell.
again. Poor mom.
Yeah, like that joke, huh?
I
Yeah.
love that. It's so funny. Mom, she's
13.
13.
15. What? 13. 13, yeah. What did some people said something else. 13 is 13. はい。
Context.
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa.
Good evening.
はい。Good evening. 12時
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, yes.
Arigato.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, the casual one. ありがとう。
16.
16. はい。
18.
はい。18 is 18. はい。
40.
はい。
70.
70. はい。
Konnichiwa.
Hello.
Hi, konnichiwa. Hello. Sometimes people say good afternoon for that one. Either way. Daika. What lesson are we in now? Yeah, lesson 1. This is daika. The dai is like the hashtag symbol for number. Ika is 1, and then the ka part is lesson. Ika is lesson 1. Ichi is the normal form for the number 1, but when it combines with certain hard sounds like K's, it sometimes loses the chi and it changes to a small 2. All of the numbers, well, not all the numbers, but many of the numbers have these little pronunciation shifts that happen depending on what is following them. So like ichi sometimes changes to I. Hachi sometimes also changes the same way. Roku sometimes does. There's a whole chart in the back of your textbook that shows you all the different numbers in the various permutations and which suffixes force those changes. Okay, what's this one? Hi, sumimasen. Excuse me. Hi. Hi, gochiso sama deshita means thanks for the meal when?
When?
After. It's the thank you for the feast, that was a feast kind of phrase.
Shy.
Hi, itterashai.
Please go and come back.
Please go and come back, yes. Itterashai.
Our first meeting.
Yeah, nice to meet you, first meeting, yeah, we're meeting for the first time. Hajimemashite.
Thanks for the meal and fun.
Yeah, the casual thank you, that was a good meal. Gochisousama. Itadakimasu.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going, but I will be back. It's not goodbye forever. Itadakimasu. 19, 19, yeah. 19. はい、21 is 21. はい。21. 90. 90. はい。はい。
11 o'clock.
はい。 walked in this morning. Formal good morning. Hi. 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 Thank you very much. Formal. Arigatou gozaimasu. Hi.
Thank you for the meal.
Let's see.
Yeah, this is the before you eat, thank you for the meal, or I humbly receive, itadakimasu.
Ichimense.
Hi.
First year.
Hi. 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 Oyasuminasai. Formal good night. Okay. Okaerinasai.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Ryugakusei.
Ryugakusei is international student. Hi.
Daigakusei. College student.
College student. Hi. Daigakusei. And
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
hi. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yes, please treat this relationship well. It's the nice to meet you that you can also use for other circumstances, not just the first meeting.
Please treat me well.
Yes. Yes. So those are all of them. Vocab. So, and of course, everyone's also continuing to practice these on their own, right? Okay. So our next step is we're going to finish the exercise we started last time where we were going around the room and having everybody ask and answer about a phone number, right? Remember that? So, let's see, the last phone number I have down is Avery gave his number, but he's not here, so I'm going to put a star or a circle because he's going to have to practice that again when he shows up. So Dylan was going to be next.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I asked first.
So you can go ahead and ask because he was the one who was supposed to be asking you, but he's not here. So I'll let you start by asking someone else, and whoever's the last person that's actually here will ask you, probably, because we're missing.
Ready? 電話番号は何ですか
Yes. David, listen.
321の987の5957ですね。
はい、いいですね。
ありがとう。
Okay. Okay, so now Tatiana-san to Emily-san. So you're asking her.
電話番号は何ですか
641の131の3163
Okay. Oh, I forgot to.
No, I have it written down.
Okay.
You got it?
Okay. Just in case
Okay.
somebody needs it, this pen is terrible. Let me.
Isn't it? It's like Yukuri.
Take kudasai. Very good. So yeah.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Okay. Yukuri. Itte kudasai. Okay, let's see what you got. Okay, and everybody else listen, please. Dozo.
Oh, okay. 641の131 isn't it?
Like really long.
Yeah, we got the first 6. I didn't
Okay,
get the
she
last
got. Okay, so remember what you asked her? Mo, ichi, do, itte, kudasai. That means say it one more time, please.
もう一度言ってください。
Roku yon ichi no ichi san ichi no san ichi roku san.
です。
です。
はい。
That's the last one.
Okay.
もう一度言ってください。
Might wanna say
Roku yon ichi no ichi san ichi no san ichi roku san. No, des.
641の13の3163ですね。
Hi.
はい、よくできました。はい、じゃあエミリーさん、じゃあスレタさんに聞いてください。Ready for this?
I'm trying.
Daniel Bangwa no
You're
desu
going
ka?
to ask her and then try to listen to what the number
Do you
is.
want us to come back to you after a few more people have done it so you have time to listen? Okay, so シエラさんに聞いてください。
電話番号は何
No, she's asking you.
Okay.
Daniel Bangwa.
You'll get to ask, don't worry.
Okay, I don't know.
Daniel Bangwa no desu ka?
No, that's not right. 321の216の8103
Yes.
Yes.
I failed terribly.
It's
Okay, so do you want to ask her one more time or please say it slower?
Slower?
Okay, this is the slower one. So, ゆっくり
Yukuri,
言ってください。
yukuri, ite, I forget the last
ください。
Kudasai?
321の216の8103
です。
です。
どうですか
How do you say the second one?
?Okay, もう一度
Moichido
言ってください。
ite
ください。
kudasai.
はい。
So bad.
321の216の8103です。Okay.
Okay. I got it this time.
You're
Yay.
missing one letter.
I am? Where? Oh, I am.
Okay, so you can ask her to say it one last time, right? もう一度
Moichiro
もう一度
do
言ってください。
321の216の8103
です。
です。Okay.
Okay.
はい、どうぞ。
Totally got this. 321の216の8103
です
です。
はい
ですね。
です。
はい、so that's
はい、よくできました。じゃあ、シエラさんとイーサンさん、お願いします。Okay, so you're gonna ask him and he's gonna tell you his number that he's using. And it doesn't have to be your real phone number. Just, you know.
I'm using mine because it's so simple.
Okay, that works.
電話番号は何ですか
321の634の6364
です。
です。
Which one is which again?
Okay, ゆっくり言ってください is please say it slowly. もう一度言ってください is please say it again.
もう一度言ってください。
321の634の6364
です。
です。Always got that.
てください。
3、2、1の6、3、4の6、3、6、4です。
321の634の6364ですね。
はい、そうです。
はい、よくできました。はい、じゃあ、イーフンさんと、okay, let's see. I'm gonna let Sarah go next because you were here last time, so you're ready for this. And then we're gonna get Sveta and Jack in on the action. Okay, because those guys did it last time. Okay.
電話番号は何ですか
815の450の1515です。
ゆっくり行ってください。
ゆっくり行ってください。
ゆっくり行って
行ってください。ください。
ください。
ください。It's a da, da. ください。
はい。815の450の1515です。
はい。
That was a perfect song.
はい、いいですね。
She was waiting for the, she was like.
Number.
はい。So you can say
もう一度言ってください。ください。
ください。
ください。
はい。815の450の1515です。
はい。J. Ah, that's the one that's tripping up?
Yeah.
J. Other people have been using the other word for it, zero. はい
Sorry. I forgot E's were pronounced for a second there.
Yeah. Re or zero, yeah. Re is the Japanese word that comes from the kanji from the Chinese origin. Zero, obviously, they borrowed from English. So one has been in the language a lot longer than the other, but they are used pretty much interchangeably.
Darn it, China. Just
What's that?
kidding. I said darn it.
Well,
Let's spell Japanese with as many English loanwords as we can.
Chinese is the reason Japanese has a writing system at all, so.
So,
はい。
8、1、5の4、5、
で、
0、always。1、5、1、5ですね。
はい、そうです。
はい、よくできました。はい。じゃあ、サラさん、are you ready, Sveta?
Yes.
All right, and then Jack's gonna be next.
Okay.
Okay? So she's gonna ask you what your phone number is.
Alright.
Okay?
Try to say it.
And you just have to give it to her in Japanese.
Okay. 電話番号は何ですか
321の578の8 sorry の44813です。
Okay, you said yon and she both. Which one did you mean? Well, usually they use yon for four
Sorry,
when it's phone
four.
numbers, not she, so.
4
So-
sorry 4
Okay.
4
Okay, can you?
Yes.
I can repeat it I can repeat it
もう一度言ってください。
はい
321の578の48113です。
はい、いいですね。
321の578 4、8、1、3ですね。
はい。そうです。
はい、よくできました。Okay, じゃあ、瀬戸さん、you're gonna ask Jack.
And you have to try to figure out what
電話番号は何ですか？
3、2、1の2、5、9の8、8、4、8です。
ゆきてください。
ゆっくり言ってください。
ゆっくり言ってください。
3、2、1の2、5、9の8、8、4、8です。
Sorry. What is the second to last word? 4?
4、
4
Okay. I just repeat it. Sorry. Let me see this. 3, 2, 1の2、5、9、8、9の8、8、4、8ですね。ですね。
はい、そうです。
はい、よくできました。Okay, now Jack gets to ask Dylan because he hasn't been asked yet.
電話番号は何ですか？
あ3、2、1の6、3、9の6、4、5、6
です。
です。
OK。3、2、1の6、3、9の6、4、5、6ですね。
はい、そうです。
はい、よくできました。はい、いいですね。Okay, any questions about how to ask and answer phone numbers? Okay, so now you guys all know how to do it. Obviously, it's good to keep practicing. And I do believe that asking for the other person's phone number and confirming that you got it right is one of the pieces on the oral test for the OPI. Real quick, because I told the other class about it and didn't tell you guys yet, let me just go over very quickly a sort of overview of what to expect on the chapter test, because it's a week from today. So for the written part of the test, you're going to have English to Japanese and Japanese to English translation components, you know, whole sentences that you need to convert from one language to the other, okay? There's going to be a Q&A section where I've typed questions in Japanese for you to answer in Japanese. So it might be something like, 電話番号は何ですか? Or 何歳ですか? Or 専攻は何ですか? What's your major? You know, or 学生ですか? Are you a student? You know, things like that.
How do you answer what's your major in Japanese?
We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Okay. So those are the kinds of questions that could be on the Q&A. Okay. And then besides that, we've also got the chart, the hiragana chart. Okay, which I basically just give you some blank space on the page, and you can fill it out whichever direction you prefer. If you want to do it the traditional way, vertical, right to left, that's fine. If you want to do it the way your textbook shows it, left to right and horizontal, English style, that's fine too. But the whole basic 46, a, i, u, e, o, kakiku, keiko, sashi, suseso, tachitsute, to, those are required. If you want to do the diacritical marks and the combinations, those are worth a little bit of extra credit. It's one of the few times I give extra credit, so you might want to take me up on it. Okay. Let's see, so that's that, and then, okay, the listening part is divided into 3 segments. There's one part that is just individual hiragana dictation, where I just say, for example, ku, and you guys write ku, you know, or I say nu, and you write nu, or I say te, and you write te. Okay, so that's the first part, the hiragana part, okay? Then the second part is Japanese to English, where I actually say a Japanese phrase and you write down what it means in English. So if I say, for example, daigaku no sensei, you would write down college teacher or college professor or university teacher, whatever you want to call it. University instructor, you know, any variation thereof would work. Okay, if I say ohayou gozaimasu, you would write down good morning, formal, you know, something like that. Okay, so that's the second part of the listening. And then the third part is another Q&A section where I say the question in Japanese and you have to write an intelligible Japanese answer to that question. So on that part, I highly recommend that you actually jot down the question on either the test or your scratch paper so that you can go back to it and think about how you want to answer the question, because I'm only going to say each thing a few times. You might not have time to think that fast and write down a good answer in Japanese. So for that section in particular, I really stress that people ought to write it down however they can write it down fastest. If it needs to be in Romaji because you're not that quick with hiragana yet, that's fine, because it's just for your scratch paper, so your reference, so that you can then go back to it later and say, okay, what did she say? She said nansai desu ka? Okay, that means, wait a minute, nansai. Okay, yeah, that means what age are you? How old are you? And then you can think about how you want to answer that question and write it out in Japanese. And yes, any numbers on this test, I want you writing them out phonetically in hiragana with correct spelling, because I want to know that you know how to spell the words in Japanese for those numbers. Okay, so we're not doing like digits this time. You know, going forward, things will be different sometimes, but for now I want hiragana. Okay, so that's, I think that's pretty much the whole. Oh yeah, and there's a reading passage, reading comprehension section, where you have a short paragraph in Japanese to read, and then underneath that there'll be some questions about it in English. You know, what was the person's name? What's their major? How old are they? What college do they attend? Whatever the content of the paragraph was, there's questions about it where you're supposed to answer in English. Because if you give me the answers in Japanese, I don't know if you really understood what you're writing or if you're just copying verbatim and hoping that you picked the right thing to copy. You know? So that's the written test. The oral proficiency interview, or OPI, is the oral part of the test, and that is going to be scheduled outside of normal class hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a sign-up sheet for you on Tuesday, and there'll be a bunch of time slots basically between the end of this class and the beginning of my afternoon class. So I'll have times blocked out throughout basically the early afternoon, because immediately after this class I have my independent study group. No, wait a minute. No, we're talking about, it'll be on Thursday, so I won't have my independent study group. So I'll be able to have some time slots probably before lunch, some time slots after lunch, and you'll pick what slot fits your schedule. And it's only going to be like 10 minutes. And it's going to be you and one other person. Could be someone from this class, could be someone from the other segment. of Japanese 1, and you and that other person will sit down together, and you'll each get a prompt sheet with, let me see if I've got a copy of what that looks like. That's the wrong test. You don't want the lesson 10 test.
No.
You'll get a prompt card, which has a list of 8 questions on it in English. Things like, what's your name, how old are you, what's your major, etc., etc. Things that this chapter is teaching us how to ask and answer. Okay? And we will, learn how to do those this class, and Tuesday we're going to work on that. And then you'll have time to answer and ask those questions. So, if, say, Sveta and Sierra are paired, then they would take turns, Namae wa nan desu ka? What's your name? Sierra desu. Namae wa nan desu ka? Sveta desu. Like that. Senkou wa nan desu ka? Nihongo desu. Senkou wa nan desu ka? Rekishi desu. Whatever the answers might be. Okay? Okay, and you'll both be getting scored on how well you answer as we go along. Pronunciation, fluency, correct grammar, correct vocabulary usage, comprehension of what the other person says. If I can understand it and you're not following it, that's a problem. If the other person's pronunciation is so horrible that I couldn't expect you to understand it, I will repeat it back to you with better pronunciation to see if you understand when it's pronounced clearly. Right.
So if there's like a question that's like, where are you from, or like, what's your major, that like does not persist in our vocabulary, do we just like approximate? Like,
Yeah,
okay.
or you can make something up. I mean, you can say that your major is English, even though that's not actually your major, if you want, because eigo is one of your vocabulary. So you can make something up. It doesn't have to all be the actual truth, but it's good practice to be able to ask and answer these questions, even though you might not know how to say electrical engineering in Japanese, and that kind of specialized vocabulary is something that you can learn later after you've gotten comfortable with the form of how to ask and answer these questions. But it's not fair to expect everybody in the classroom to learn everybody's majors, because there could be too many that are challenging to say, Okay, so does that kind of clarify what to expect? So we're actually going to be getting to the question of how to ask all these types of questions in one of our next segments. Okay, so if you open your books, 51ページを見ましょう。51ページですね。51ページ、わかりますか？はい。Okay, so we're looking at 日本語の学生. Do you see that heading in the middle of the page? Part 4. 日本語の学生. Okay, so 日本語の学生 is literally student of Japanese language, right? Note that the word order is not always the same in English as it is in Japanese, right? But if you look at which one is the main noun and which one is the noun that's describing the other, you can see that the thing doing the describing in Japanese always comes before the no, and the main noun being described is what comes second. Okay? The main noun is always closer to the verb in Japanese sentence order. And since the verb is always at the end, that means the main, more important noun is going to be after the no, not before the no. Make sense? Okay? So, since if you're a student of Japanese language, the main point is that you're a student, right? And then student that studies what? Japanese language, right? That's the part that's modifying. So, Nihongo no gakusei is the word order. So, let's see. Let's get started from Sierra. Ichiban. My teacher would be?
Just kidding.
Watashi no sensei.
Hi, watashi no sensei. Does everybody see how that works? Watashi no changes it from I to my. Watashi no sensei. My telephone number, Sveta,
I don't know, the bangos.
Telephones.
yeah.
So,
So telephone number is denwa bango. So my telephone number would be watashi
Watashi
no
den-
denwa bango. Okay. Okay, say it one more time for.
Watashi no denwa bango.
Hi. いいですね. Okay, my name would be
Watashi wa name.
watashi
No.
watashi no namae. Okay, because it's my
Yeah.
name, not I am a name.
Yes. Like,
Right, so watashi no namae is my name. Okay, じゃあ、Tatianaさん、4番、Takashi's major.
Takashi no senko.
Takashi no senko, or if we want to be polite, because he's not your best friend, so,
Takashi-san no senko.
hi, Takashi-san no senko. Okay, that's the other thing I want everybody to pay attention to. On the test also, and even in the OPI, put san on names. Okay, every time you're saying somebody's name, whether it's a character in the book or whether it's your partner, I want you to use san because it's a habit you need to get into. Okay, Americans don't have the habit of adding san to everyone's name, so it doesn't come naturally yet. But in Japanese culture, unless you're really close friends or family, you always put san on everyone else's name. Okay, and so you want to start building that habit now so that when you get to Japan, you're not inadvertently offending everybody everywhere you go by not putting san on their names. Okay, so it's good to get the practice now so that when you get there, you're not accidentally being offensive. Okay, Dylan-san.
メリーさんの友達。
はい、メアリーさんの友達。はい、じゃあ6番アンドレアさん。Ah, this is a tricky one, isn't it? Okay, so first of all, does anyone have a guess as to how you would name a university in Japanese?
Well, something 大学。
Something daigaku, okay? So we know the daigaku part, right? Daigaku. Does anyone remember how we pronounced London in Japanese? London, right? So for now I'm going to write it in hiragana. Really it should be in katakana, right? So in fact, let me go ahead and show it both ways. So London is what it looks like in katakana. Don is how you pronounce it. Okay, so you can read this one. We'll be learning how to read this stuff next chapter. Okay, so, and because it's a proper noun, you don't need a no here. You know what would happen if you put a no here? It actually turns it into universities of London, as in, you know, if there are a dozen universities in the city of London, you're talking about them as a group. If you put the no in here, that's what it turns it into. It turns it into a phrase about all the colleges that happen to be in London. But if you say London Daigaku, that's the proper noun naming the University of London. Okay, and the same thing works with like Florida Daigaku would probably refer to University of Florida. Okay, if you're talking about Florida State, just to differentiate between the two, you would add in the word for state, which we're not going to worry about right now. Okay, so London Daigaku is the first part you need, right?
London Daigaku no Gakusei.
はい、London Daigaku no gakusei ですね。Okay, so student of the University of London, London Daigaku no gakusei. はい。はい、じゃあ7番、Alex さん。
先生の日本語。
That's the
Other way.
other way
日
around.
本語の
sensei, because somebody is a teacher of Japanese, not a Japanese of teacher. Doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So Nihongo no sensei.
It's a Japanese only used by teachers.
Right. Yeah, sensei no Nihongo would be like the teacher's Japanese language. Like,
She has her own language.
like I've got my own version of Japanese that doesn't work for anybody else. Not a good idea. Okay, so Nihongo no sensei. Okay, じゃあ8番デイビッドさん。
Sensei no koko.
That would be the teacher's high school.
Koko no sensei.
高校の先生。はい。高校の先生。Yeah, and some of these actually work in both directions, so you got to really be careful, right?
Yeah.
Because sensei no koko could be, you know, the high school where that teacher teaches, right? So koko no sensei is a high school teacher. Okay, so any questions about no? And this is something that we're going to keep practicing because a lot of times it takes a while to get comfortable with no usage, okay? So now we're going to look at part 5, which is going to answer Sveta's question about majors. Okay, so note that we have ichi, ni, san, shi. We've got 4 different people besides Mary that we're going to be talking about on the chart on the following page. Okay, and we've got ichi, ni, san, shi, go 5 different kinds of sentences to say about each of these people, okay? So we're going to let Sara-san read the first example sentence, the nationality example, okay? And then we're going to let Jack make a sentence about nationality for Takeshi-san, and then Ethan will make a sentence about nationality for Sue-san, and so on, and then we'll come around to the next example, okay? So we're going to do all the sentences of the same concept for the different people, and then the next concept for the 5 different people, okay? So, Sara-san, dozo.
Alright, so, Mary-san wa America-jin no, no, I don't know what the end of the sentence is. Desu.
はい、Mary-san wa America-jin desu. Okay, so let's just look at that structure real quick. So, person wa nationality desu. Okay, so we've got a person, and then we put the country name with jin to make the nationality, right? Country plus jin, jin meaning person or people of, right? So person or people of that country, that's the nationality term. Okay, makes sense? So any country that you know how to say in Japanese, you automatically can also say the nationality, the person from that country, just by adding jin. Okay, so Mary-san wa America-jin desu. Okay, Jack-san. We're asking, so what nationality is Takeshi-san?
たけしさんは日本人です。
はい、Takeshi-sanは日本人ですね。じゃあ、イーサンさん。スーさんは
スーさんは建国人です。
韓国人。
韓国人。
Yeah, make sure you're saying that ka. Okay, there's no ka in Japanese. So it's 韓国人ですね。はい。じゃあ、okay, we're back over to Sierra さん。ロバートさんは
ロバートさんはイギリス人です。
はい、イギリス人ですね。There's another one of those katakana words, イギリス人. Notice that the イギリス part is in katakana, but the jin is still hiragana because the jin actually has a kanji to it. So jin is always going to be written in, Japanese letters. イギリス is a borrowed word, so it's in katakana. じゃあ、Sveta さん、山下先生ですね。
山下先生は日本人です。
はい、そうですね。山下先生は日本人ですね。
Is it です or です？
です。 Yeah, the oot sound gets lost on the end of su, at the end of verb, like desu, masu. They say des, mas. Yeah, on the ends. Okay? So, okay, Emily-san, you're going to read the example for us of how to say somebody's year in school.
Mary-san wa nanensei desu?
Ni
Ni
nensei desu.
desu.
はい、メアリーさんは2年生ですね。Okay. タティアナさん、たけしさんは何年生ですか？
たけしさんは4年生です。
はい、4年生です。This is another one of those special cases where the yon loses its final n because of the following sound. So it changes to yonensei instead of yonnen. Okay, it changes to yonen. はい。じゃあ、どうぞ。
スーさんは3年生です。
はい。And that one does not lose its final n. So it's san,
San-nen-sei.
nen, sei. It's a whole lot of n's. Okay, 3年生ですね。はい。じゃあ、アンドレアさん
ロバートさんは4年生です。
4年生です。はい。And again, that one loses the n. So it's 4年生です。Okay, and do we have anything to say about Yamashita sensei on that one?
Nope.
Not really. So, yeah, he's not a student anymore. Age has nothing to do with it, right? I've had students in here who are in their 40s and older, but they're students, they're not sensei. Right? So Alex, you're going to read the next example for us. Age. So Mary-san wa
メアリーさんは19
はい、19
19は
19歳
19歳です。
Okay. The example's actually on the other page.
Oh.
19歳です. But that's good that you can work it out for yourself.
Yeah.
That's great. 19歳です. Hi. Okay, so that's the pattern for this one. Okay, so Mary-san wa 19歳です. Okay, Davidさん、たけしさんは何歳ですか？
たけしさんは22 歳です。
はい、そうですね。22歳です。はい。いいですね。Okay, じゃあ、サダさん。This is a special case. Okay? Does anyone know the special word they use for 20 sometimes? Okay, so using the regular one that you're familiar with, how would you say her age?
スーさんは20歳です。
Hi. So that's one possibility, because young people in Japan sometimes don't know this either. But there is a special word for 20 years old. Okay? So they have hatachi instead of 20歳. And also, most of the time, 1歳 instead of 1歳 and 10歳 instead of 10歳 are the pronunciation shifts that happen. So 10歳 for like 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 20歳. 21歳 also has a special spelling normally. 21歳. 21歳 like that. So 20 and 21 can be pronounced like this. But 20 in particular, because it's the coming of age year, I think, for Japanese people, it's like our 18 and 21 and 16 all rolled into one, because certain things are 16-year-old milestones in this country, certain things are at 18, certain things are at 21, right? In Japan, it's pretty much all 20 for all of that stuff. Driving, drinking, being considered a full adult, all of it. Okay, and they actually have special coming of age ceremonies for people when they are turning 20. The year that people are turning 20, there's a special date, there's a special holiday. I think it's in January, like January 15th or something. All the people turning 20 that year have like a special ceremony at City Hall on January 15th.
Well,
And a lot of them will dress up in very formal clothes and go to this very special ceremony that the city has for all the people turning 20 that year. And the girls will sometimes wear formal kimono. The guys will sometimes wear formal kimono if they have one, or rent one, or they'll wear like a fancy suit or a tux. It's really considered special. The kimono that some of the women wear for this ceremony are what's called the furisode. They have these incredibly long, elaborate sleeves that touch down to about here, on the like literally like halfway down the calf. That's how long they are when their arms are down like this. And fancy obi with a great big humongous bow in the back, and their hair all done up fancy. And if they need a jacket, because it's January, the women will have like fur coats over their kimono. Yeah, it's really fancy. Yeah.
We used to have cotillions here, that's kind of like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a combination of every coming of age ceremony you can think of in this country, all rolled onto one and put on the same date for everybody in your town.
So there's drinking, I'm just kidding.
No. Although, well, there may very well be like sake afterwards or something. Yeah. Although, just like here, it's not necessarily the first time those people have tasted alcohol. Okay, so if you're going to use the, sort of modern version, you could say, Sue-san wa 20 歳です. If you want to use this one, you could say, Sue-san wa 20 歳です. Okay?
So you don't have to say sai if you say
You don't
hatachi.
use sai because hatachi has the concept of sai embedded in the word.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So hatachi desu is the other way to say it. Okay. Jack-san, how old is Roberto-san?
ロバートさんは22歳です。
はい、そうですね。And Ethan-san, you get to tell us about Yamashita Sensei's age.
Let's read seven. Yamashita Sensei, son. You say son after or no?
No, sensei replaces san, but that's a very good question.
Yamashita Sensei wa 47です。
47歳です。
歳です。
はい、47歳です. Otherwise, you're just saying he's the number 47, which is weird.
Unless he's dressed like one,
Yeah,
like Sesame
I mean,
Street.
yeah, it's not his Halloween costume.
they have Halloween.
No. So, 47歳ですね.
It's funny because like in like Russia and Ukraine, they also have Halloween. Like we watch videos of like Halloween, you always wonder like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, it's a
American.
holiday that most of the country doesn't really acknowledge. Okay, じゃあ、Sierra-san, we're going to go on to what school someone is a student of. So the example, Mary-san wa? Okay.
Oh yeah, I can read it.
Yeah, you got the easy part.
I'm like trying to remember how to say this. Mary-san wa Arizona 大学の学生です。
はい、アリゾナ大学の学生です。はい、so どうぞ。
Takashi-san wa Sakura no gakusei desu.
Sakura 大学
Daigaku desu.
Sakura 大学の学生です
I said that, I thought.
You left something out.
Oh, sorry.
Got the university part.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sakura Daigaku no gakusei desu.
学生ですはい Okay, soたけしさんは桜大学の学生ですはいいいですねじゃあエミリーさん
スーさんはソウル大学の学生です。
はいソウル大学の学生です Yeah, and they just do ソウルソウル大学の学生ですねlong, yeah, soru, that would come out like, well, in hiragana, in katakana right now, soru, I think they write it like that, so, soru, like that, soru, soru 大学の学生ですね。はい、じゃあ、ロバートさん。Who's next? Tatiana-san? Okay, so sorry.
Which one am I writing?
Robato-san. So you're saying what college he's a student of.
Robato-san wa
London 大学はい
の学生です。
はいそうですねじゃあ Dylan-san you're going to have to alter the sentence a little bit because he's not the student of, he's the teacher of.
Okay.
はい。
山下先生は桜大学の先生です。
はい、桜大学の先生です。Nice, right? はい。じゃあ、Andreaさん, you get to start us off with majors by showing the example, reading the example for us.
メアリーさんの参考は日本語です。
はい、メアリさんの専攻は日本語です。So that's how you state what someone's major is. Okay, see that format? Okay, Alex-san, tell us about Takeshi.
たけしさんの歴史は、
wait, Takeshiさんの
たけしさんの
専攻
は歴史です。
はい、そうですね。Understand the structure there? はい、じゃあ、ビッグさん、どうぞ。
スーさんの専攻はコンピューターです。
はい、コンピューターですね。Isn't that a fun one?
コンピューター。
コンピューターです。Yeah, katakana is fun. It lets you get all kinds of vocabulary words very easily. はい、じゃあ、サダさん。
ラバトさんの専攻はビジネスです。
はい、ビジネスですね。じゃあ、ジャックさん。
山下先生の専攻は日本語です。
はい、日本語ですね。We can assume that since he's teaching Japanese at a university, that he must have majored in Japanese when he was in college, right? And senko could also be interpreted as specialty sometimes. So does that answer your question a little bit about
Yes.
how to
It's in my
state that?
book.
Yeah.
Can't
Okay.
learn nothing.
If you keep going with your exercises into pages 53, 54, 55, and 56, we'll try to get through most of those exercises on Tuesday. Those pages are in the PDF.
Okay.
So make sure you've got that and do the exercises in there. And don't forget, all these exercises are part of what is due as homework on test day a week from today. So if you aren't caught up on writing all of these answers out, make sure you're doing that too. Okay?
No,
This
the
weekend.
homework, is it the same thing in the workbook, or do you want
It's
me
all,
to?
it's all of it, the workbook and the textbook. Yeah, so all of these exercises we're doing in class, the idea was for you to hopefully have done them beforehand so that you've got your answers and you can read from your book if you need
Because I
to.
need to practice.
You've rehearsed it before you got in here so that you're ready for it when I call on you. But even if you didn't do it before class, it's still good practice. Go ahead and do it after class because the homework grade includes all of it.
Okay.
Okay? Even the ones that in the textbook say just read like the numbers in that first segment, write them out in hiragana for practice.
Are we gonna have to use it in on a separate sheet of paper, or are you gonna look for a book or what?
Either way. So if you find that you have small enough handwriting that you just want to write all of your answers in the book, that's fine. If, like many people find their handwriting in hiragana is too large and they can't squeeze it all in, just label it clearly by page and segment number on the letter. Okay? Hi.
So in regards to textbook homework, we're writing so far numbers, time.
You're doing every one of these exercises. A, B, C, this A, from page 48 through all of these. Okay, all,
55.
yeah, all of these, yeah, down to this point. And you can make up little mini dialogues for these two scenarios as well. That's all part of the homework. Okay, and don't forget there's also all of these exercises to do as well.
Okay.
And here again, if you're writing in your book and you want to do a lot of these exercises could easily be written in the book, and that's fine. Just put a bookmark on that page for me so I can find it easily. Something like this where they want you to write out a little introductory letter. If your handwriting is small and you want to squeeze it in there, that's fine. If you want to do it on a separate piece of paper, just make sure it's labeled as that. Okay?
So from 48 to 56 and 290 to 292.
Yes. Okay.
And those are, I don't have the book yet, so those are.
Those are all in the PDFs that
Okay.
are posted.
So I can
So
just-
you can either print them off and write on printout, or you can print them off and write on separate sheets of paper.
Okay.
Or a mixture, depending on
That'll
your
work.
fix.
I've been checking in the store like every day to see when they come in, but
Yeah.
like I've already paid for the books, like I have the receipts and everything. I just
Yeah.
need
It's frustrating,
to wait
isn't
for
it?
them to come in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are numbers in Japan, are they usually written like in Arabic, or are they written with the kanji?